Selection method standards. Personnel selection is the process by which companies decide who will or will not be allowed to organizations. Several generic standards should be met in any selection process. We focus on five. First, reliability. Second, validity. Third, generalizability. Fourth, utility. And five, legality. The first four build off each other in the sense that the preceding standard is often necessary but not sufficient for the one that follows. Reliability. Much of the work in personnel selection involves measuring characteristics of people to determine who will be accepted for job openings. For example, we might be interested in applicants' physical characteristics, their cognitive abilities, or aspects of their personality. Whatever the specific focus, in the end, we need to quantify people on these dimensions.
If you break any of these rules,
so we can order them from high to low on characteristic of interest. Once people are ordered in this way, we can decide whom to hire and whom to reject. One key standard for any measuring device is its reliability. We define reliability as the degree to which a measure is free from random error. Generalizability. Generalizability is defined as the degree to which the validity of a selection method established in one context extends to other contexts. Utility. Utility is the degree to which the information provided by selection methods enhances the bottom line effectiveness of the organization. In general, the more reliable, valid, and generalizable the selection method is, the more utility it will have. The value of the product or service produced by the job incumbent plays a role. The more valuable the product or service, the more value there is in selecting the top performers. For example, in a high-tech company, there is tremendous value associated with a great team of software engineers with a proven record of working productively together to create innovative products. If a company tried to hire total strangers without this kind of track record and build a team from scratch, it might take years to see any value from a set of individual hires. Thus, many organizations in this industry are willing to pay top dollar to hire entire intact teams. Legality. The final standard that any selection method should adhere to is legality. All selection methods should conform to existing laws and existing legal precedents. Federal legislation. Three primary federal laws form the basis for a majority of the suits filed by job applicants. First, the Civil Rights Act of 1991. An extension of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 protects individuals from discrimination based on race, color, sex, religion, and national origin with respect to hiring as well as compensation and working conditions.
So, the first half of the chapter laid out the 5 standards by which we can judge selection measures. In the second half of the chapter, we examine the common selection methods used in the various organizations and discuss their advantage and disadvantage in terms of these standards. So, the first types of selection methods is interviews. A selection interview has been defined as a dialogue initiated by one or more persons to gather information and evaluate the qualification of an application of employment. There is two variety situational judgment items that usually used in the selection interview. First is experience-based and second is feature-oriented. The second method is references, biographical data, and application blanks. The evidence on the reliability and validity of reference checks suggests that these methods are weak predictors of future success in the job. The main reason for this low validity is the evaluation supplied in most reference letters are so positive that it is hard to differentiate applicants. Again, the biggest concern with the use of biographical data is the applicants who supply the information may be motivated to misrepresent themselves. Research found that 45% of job applications that were audited contained some amount of inaccurate material. The third method is physical ability test. Physical abilities may be relevant not only to predicting performance but to predicting occupational injuries and disabilities as well. There are 7 classes of tests in this area. Ones that evaluate muscular tension, muscular power, muscular endurance, cardiovascular endurance, flexibility, balance, and coordination. Next, there are cognitive ability tests. Cognitive ability test is the test that includes 3 dimensions. First is verbal comprehension, that refers to a person's capacity to understand and use written and spoken language. Second is quantitative ability, that concerns the speed and accuracy with which one can solve arithmetic problems of all kinds. And the third one is reasoning ability, refers to a person's capacity to invent solutions to many diverse problems. The fifth type of selection methods is personality inventories. There is 5 major dimensions of personality known as the Big Five. The first is extroversion, the second one is adjustment, the third one is agreeableness, and 4 conscientiousness, and the 5 is openness to experience.
Exactly in what area of technology are you proficient?
Snapchat, Pinterest, Instagram, Vine, Twitter. You know the big ones.
I'm surprised you didn't say Facebook.
That's for old people, like my parents. That's funny.
The sixth types of selection methods is work samples. Work sample tests attempt to simulate the job in a pre-hiring context to observe how the applicant performs in the simulated job. In the area of managerial selection, work sample tests are typically the cornerstone in assessment centers. Generically, the term assessment center is used to describe a wide variety of specific selection programs that employ multiple selection methods to rate either applicants or job incumbents on their managerial potential. The last one is honesty test and drug test. Drug tests involve not their reliability and validity, but whether they represent an invasion of privacy, an unreasonable search and seizure, or a violation of due process.
Selecting new recruitment, we usually use the interview session because in interview we can know about the personality of someone or the basic soft skill of someone or something like that. And CV is included in the interview session. Best method for the selection is interview because like that. Because when we interview session, we know about the characteristic of someone or the basic soft skill of someone or the perspective of someone. We assign the reward and punishment for all of the members, and if the member doesn't fit with the division, maybe we can motivate them and embrace them to make sure their potency or something like that.